Okay, so hi everybody, this is a little video on how to make a test or a quiz on Blackboard. So there's two ways you can make your quiz. You can do it directly into where you want it to go on your Blackboard site, or you can make it and then pop it in. So if I'm where in my Blackboard site I want to make it, I can go to this Create Assessment section and click on Test, and then click Create Test here. And then I can start making my test. The other way I can get there is if I go down here into my site tools. This might look like this if you haven't opened this section. So if you go to site tools, then near the bottom there's tests, surveys and pools, and you can click tests just here and build a test, and that gets you to the same place. The first thing that we have to do is name it. So I'm going to call it example quiz. I'll find it again in a minute. And if you want to put any descriptions or any more detail, perhaps about what the quiz is for or the time span that it's available for, you can pop that all into there. And then click submit. The next thing that we need to do is, now we've sort of created our quiz, we need to add some questions to it. And to do that, we click on this create questions section here. But like I said, I tend to do the multiple choice questions. So I'm going to click on multiple choice. So it's going to give me the window to where I can make my question. I tend not to type anything in the question title, to be honest. And the question text is where I write the actual question that I want the students to answer. These options, I just leave them as default. And then the number of answers to my question, it default sets it as 4, and then you can increase it up to basically as many as you fancy. If you did want to make that 3 rather than 4, all you need to do is, so this is the first answer is going to put in, you can just click remove there, and that will remove one of those questions. So now you're down to 3 here. Okay, so you've written your question in this window just here, and then you write your answers in just here. So I've got space for 3 answers. The key thing to remember to do is to ensure that the correct answer is the one that you've told it is the correct answer, and you do that using these little boxes just on the side, this little tick on the side just here. So if my correct answer is number 3, I can click that just there, and then that tells it which one the correct answer is. So I've got my question in, I've got my answers in. If you want to provide any additional feedback, you can do it under the feedback section. So if they've done the correct answer, you can say, well done, this is the correct answer. And if they've got the incorrect answer, you can perhaps give them some prompts or some reading if you feel that they need to look something else up. So once you've filled all of that in and you're happy, you can click submit just here, and that will add your question to the quiz. And you can do the same again, and you can do that as many times as you like to make a quiz as big as you like. So if I just scroll down here, I can see the question that I've made. It's a multiple choice question. This is the question itself, and then these are the answers, and it's telling me with a tick which one the correct one is. If you want to change the number of points or the weightings, you can do that here just by clicking on it, and you can change that to whatever number you fancy. So once you've done that and you're happy with your test and you've added as many questions as you like in, you can click OK just here. Okay, so now you've made your test. If you've made it in the site tools section, you need to deploy it so the students can see it. So if you pop to where you would like your test to be, and again we're going to click create assessment. Rather than making a new test like we could have done, if you've made it in the site tools, you'll see it within this list. So my sample test is just there. I'm going to click submit, and that'll load that in. And then I'll get given some options. So I get standard Blackboard options of like when to make it available. If I want my students to be able to do it multiple times, I can allow them to do it more than once, and I can allow them to do it unlimited times or a set number. So I'm going to say 3 for fun. Okay, so score using last graded attempt, leave that as it is. These, the grades for the students' tests will pull through into the students' My Grades section of the Blackboard site. So you can see how they've progressed and who's completed it and what marks they've got. So leave that in, otherwise it just gets really confusing. I don't alter any of these, so I don't make people force completion, and I don't set a timer. They can have as long as they like. These again are standard Blackboard options. You can display it within a particular time frame. If it's an assessment, you can add a due date. This is quite important. So if you want to tell the students if they've got it right or wrong and what marks they've got, you can do that here. So you can tell them their results after the submission. You can tell them if they've got them right. You can just tell them the number that they've got right. And you can do that after submission, after a due date, or after they've been graded. So it's up to you when they see the correct answers, and you can change that here. These are just some settings as to how the students view the tests, and I just leave that as standard. And so once you're happy with all of that, you can just click submit, and then that test will go live, and it'll just be popped down here at the bottom for your students to be able to access, as long obviously if you've allowed them to see it. I hope that's helpful.